Hello, hello, welcome. Second time lucky. Just for those that might have seen a really little sneak peek of us, we had a Facebook error. You can always rely on Facebook to keep you on your toes. Hey, welcome back to another Facebook Live. Now, today we are going to be speaking to someone that we spoke to 12 months ago, and I'm really excited to have a chat to them and just dig a little bit deeper on how things have gone for them in that last 12 months. But I want to paint a picture for you to start with. You've worked in your family's business for almost 8 years, and you all of a sudden become the GM. And for those that work in family businesses, you know how fantastic it is to work in a family business, don't you? You can never get everything out of the family that you really need, but you do have ownership and you get to do what you want, hypothetically. But soon after becoming GM, COVID hit. Now, today's guest is Jess Jones from Beachcomber Cruises, and I want to do a great big welcome. Jess, welcome to our live today.
Thank you, Tracy. Thanks for having me along again.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. Jess, we've known each other for a while, and you know we've had lots of conversations about this turbulent last year. But I don't want to start with that just yet. I don't feel that a lot of people actually know who you are. So do you want to just kind of talk a little bit about your role in your business first?
Sure. So my business. First of all, I'm a mum of two, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, two girls. We live in Picton. We moved here 10 years ago. My parents own the company, so family-owned and operated company. They brought that back in 2006, and I joined in 2011, October 2011. So started reservations, moved into marketing, and then, as you said, then just taken over as general manager. So climbed the ladder a bit, yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about Beachcomber itself and the business and what you guys do.
So Beachcomber Cruises, we are cruising specialists of the Queen Charlotte Sound, and we also service the Queen Charlotte track. So to give a little bit of history on that, we actually brought Beachcomber, which had 3 boats when we brought Beachcomber Cruises. We also brought the smaller water taxis, West Bay and Buzzy boats, and we merged those into Picton water taxis. So we run the Picton water taxis.
Can you say that again? Was that Buzzy boats?
Picton Buzzy boats. Yeah.
Who came up with that name? Oh my gosh, Buzzy boats.
I don't know, Tracy, but we got rid of that. So yeah. We merged those 2 companies and it made that Picton water taxis. So that's our private side of the fleet. So they do a lot of contract work, and then Beachcomber Cruises is the scheduled side. So within the boating side, we do have 2 sort of sectors.
I don't know if I can let go of this. Was it like a Buzzy bee boat, or like was it yellow? And I don't know. It just what was someone taking at the time of coming up with Buzzy? No, we'll let that go. No, let that go. So
you know when you think you know someone.
Yeah. So when we think about your business, your main market, where has your main market come from for Beachcomber?
Currently?
Well, let's talk pre-COVID.
Oh, okay. So we've always had a strong domestic base. Australia, US, UK, Europe would generally be the people who like hiking, biking, cruising. Yeah, that's sort of the main markets that we would come across. But domestic has been strong for us. Has always been strong for us, and with COVID hitting, that's been a saving grace for us as well. So people wanting to get out and explore their own backyard. Yeah.
What would be the number one tour that people would do with you?
The mail boat, just getting off out on the water, tranquil waterways, water accessible only. Just a different way of life, seeing how other people live. Yeah, so we're really happy that we're able to offer that. Yeah.
So when I think of mailboat, have you ever seen that video where they get the high school kids and they make them run to the jetty, and then they've got to run across to the next jetty and they've got to jump back onto the boat. Is that like your mail boat?
Well, no, I don't. I think my H&S officer would have a meltdown at that, actually. So no, we're pulling up to the jetties, having a little bit more of a one-on-one time, a bit more time, feeding the dogs, getting to know the clients, and yeah, they all become our friends after a while. So it's nice.
Yeah. Now, is it true that you let kids hand out the mail?
Yes, Tracy, you can hand out the mail. Yes.
Thank you. Great. Next time I'm out there, I'll be handing out the mail. Now, look, let's take a bit of a turn. So, COVID hits. You're a recently appointed GM. Talk us through COVID.
Wow. So everyone obviously has their own COVID story, but for me, I took over GM in May of 2019. Had come back from a trade show actually, and stepped into the office and thought, wow, life was pretty good. We were at the peak of the peak. We have 9 vessels that were never docked alongside the wharf. So the problems I had then was lack of vessels. So now I have lack of people. So it's kind of taken a turn, but we had 25 people on payroll. We are a small family-owned and operated company, so that was pretty big for us. We were up there. I had to make redundancies. That broke my heart, and I'm sure a lot of people, in the tourism sector have had to. But these people are my friends, they're my family. So that really, took a toll. And then I guess off the back of that was just left our family doing everything, and then the rebuild. So the rebuild wasn't easy, trying to find those skilled people who had already, our previous staff already moved on. So just trying to build that legacy up again. So which I'm proud to say that I have done and moving forward. So yeah.
So being a family business, who is in the business with you? So which family members are taking this journey with you?
Sure. So my mum and dad, still day-to-day operations are sort of still around, but take more of a reserved step back, I guess. There's myself, general manager. So my sister Laura, who's in accounts and overseeing reservations as well. So yeah, 4 of us.
And have you got the kids doing any work in the property, in the business yet?
Yeah, they come in, they eat the ice creams. Yeah.
Yeah. So talk me through, you're a small business and you live in a small community. So you're in Picton. Employing 25 people at the time of COVID, that would have had an impact on the community as well, wouldn't it? By letting go.
Yeah. And I'm glad you can see that, because, that's everything. That's the family that then go and shop at the local supermarkets, that buy up the main street at the gift shops for birthdays and all those sorts of things. So, yeah, as I guess if you want to break it down, for example, with the tour groups come, the cruise ships come, I'm employing a skipper to be able to go and drive that vessel for those people, but without those tourists coming here, I can't employ that. So, for our community, it does have a really big knock-on effect. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it must have been an absolute gut-wrenching time. And as you mentioned, a lot of operators had to let people go, and we had to let people go, but not on the scale that you did. And we know that there's others out there that have had to do a lot more. But the rebuild now, the rebuild. So COVID hit, we went into lockdown. You come out, what happens?
Well, so even now is different to pre-COVID March 2020. So we come out of that, we didn't necessarily drop products either, pivot, swivel, do what you want to do, all those sorts of things. But there's certain products
Are you avoiding saying the word pivot? Were you avoiding saying the word pivot?
I was trying.
I mean, just for those that are watching, I did say to Jess, do not swear. but pivot's okay.
Okay, yeah. So those, the walks that were for the longer kind of, I guess the German, French backpackers, that clientele that used to do those products, they weren't here anymore. So we didn't have to drop those products. They naturally dropped themselves. So, yeah, the mailboat was our saving grace, people who wanted to get out and explore. Yeah, so we were lucky. Yeah.
And how did you find, and this is a common problem with a lot of tourism businesses throughout New Zealand, Australia, is replacing staff. So you've let staff go and you've now had to go find new staff just as you can. How easy or hard has it been to find staff for you?
Hard, very hard. So Picton has a population of 4,000 people. And of 4,000 people, I guess some are over the age of 65, retired, and some are young as well. So we really only have a small pool of, people for employment. So it was hard for finding skilled skippers who can do commentaries, to finding reservation staff who can work the hours of a tourism kind of business. We're not 9 till 5, Monday to Friday. So it has been hard. We're lucky, I guess, that we didn't go back to the capacity that we were at pre-COVID. So I've kind of got time to be able to find the right people.
Yeah, and it just seems that until borders open, and quote me if I'm wrong, but I don't feel that you've really been a reliant employer of transient staff. You've always employed local. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. Yep. We've always employed New Zealanders, so I've been really lucky in that way. Whether that moving forward, when borders open again, if I'll be able to do that again, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Look, employment it's a really interesting one, and I feel that every business will have its own story about trying to find staff. I've been in workshops where we've talked about actually pooling staff together so that operators that may only need someone in the morning could send their staff to somewhere in the afternoon. But it sounds like you've got that all in order. Now, I want to move on, because for people that don't know Marlborough very well, they probably won't even be aware that this actually happened. But in July this year, we had a 1 in 100 year event, and it was the Marlborough floods. And this actually had quite a new devastating impact on a lot of businesses in Marlborough. Do you want to talk us through this one? Yeah, so July 17, 18, we had the big floods. There was significant damage to the region. Queen Charlotte Track and on the Kinnaparoo side of the the Marlborough Sound, was really hit quite bad. So I guess if you divide my business from walks and cruises, this just took out all of those walks. So since July 17th, we've not been able to access the Queen Charlotte Track for anyone. So, while you're down and out, they threw in a 1 in 100 year flood.
Yeah, and then in that, we got another lockdown. So anything that was there. So for people that don't really understand the scale of this, is that there is quite a significant amount of accommodation that is situated on the Queen Charlotte Track. And even those properties now have lost significant amounts of business because they go there for mainly for one reason, and one reason is to walk the track. And at the moment, there's only very small parts. And Jess, we were just talking before that we've heard that there's small portions of the track is opening up. Is that right?
Correct. Yep, the start, Ship Cove to Furno, and then Mistletoe through to Anakiwa. So very good timing for the school holidays coming up.
Yeah. So, and the floods in the Kinnaparoo side has also caused, it's not necessarily a walking track, but it's the road. So it's completely cut people off from their homes. Primary industries are struggling, so there's farms out there, they can't move their stock. So it's a problem that a lot of people are not necessarily hearing about, are they?
No, but that could be a good thing and a bad thing. You know, if you don't know about it, come and book. That's great.
Yep.
But if you do know about it, then hey, we're open. So yeah.
I think the thing that comes from this is that there is actually a lot more to do in Marlborough than just walk the track. And as you indicated before, we've got the mailboat, which is a perfect way to go out and explore the Queen Charlotte Sounds and deliver mail to those communities that are living out in the Sounds. And whilst the track has been a draw card, it's not necessarily end of coming. You know, people can still come here and enjoy and have something to do.
And I guess on that, Tracy, with that out, I guess if you talk business-wise, I'm lucky to be able to get creative, you know. So the Queen Charlotte track is off, so let's do something else. You know, there's the Motuara Bird Island, Kaipupu Island. So rather than walking the track, I've been able to use my water transport to be able to do different things. So having to get creative, but making the most out of what we have.
And that's great. And that's, I would really love to segue to that, Jess, because one thing that I have admired about what you do is you don't get stuck in the moment. And for a very long time, closer to when you actually became GM, you started coming up with lots of local events. Yes, and they've worked really well. We've got an amazing community here, and they really do get out and support us. We're doing just sort of fun family events, and they really took off better than I thought that they would have. So it's really nice to be able to engage with the community and, you know, go to the local schools and say, hey, you know, this is what's on offer. Get out and enjoy your backyard as much as we're able to take the tourists, you know, from away out. Yep. Now, I want to move on to another topic. And whilst we've talked about COVID and floods, and it's sometimes really hard to see the positive in what we do in a business because the people around us are either they don't have business, they're failing, they're closing. It's very it's devastating. But we sometimes have to turn and look and think about some of the positives. So I want to ask you, what is your proudest moment? Or what are your proudest moments? Well, first of all, I've got to say being a mum to my two beautiful girls. So I'm proud of that, and I'm still a working mum. So you survived COVID with them and lockdown and teach homeschooling. Did you do homeschooling with them? Yes. Yes, I homeschooled my children 9 to 5. I absolutely did. My proudest moments are probably controlling the controllables. And right from the get-go since COVID, this has kind of been my motto. I can't control COVID, but I can control the things around me and how I move forward. So probably being able to rebuild my team, rebuild our family business, get involved in the community, have the community backing us. You know, I mean, I've got a vision of where I want to take the business, and I don't think that this is going to stop me doing that. I've got a great team beside me and with me to be able to do that. So probably coming out of COVID now with Delta, coming out of round 2, I guess you want to say for us, of COVID and still being open, you know. I think that for a lot of businesses in the tourism sector, that's a proud moment. You know, take the small wins, and even if they are small, take them as the win, because it's hard at the moment for a lot of business operators. So, being able to come to work every day and provide tourists with the amazing array of products that we do have would be my proudest moment. I love what I do, so I'm really lucky. Yeah. And let's not put aside the fact that you are now a board member of Destination Marlborough. I am a Destination Marlborough board member. Slide that one in, and it's fairly recent, isn't it? How long is that now? 4 months now into Destination Marlborough. So, yeah. And that says a lot of things, Jess. That says that in your time you have, and especially as a GM, you've now been recognised as one of those thought leaders in our region, and getting on the DM board is actually quite a significant achievement. So congratulations for joining the board.
Thanks, Tracy. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to getting in there and representing the region and
Yep. And one thing I do want to share with people is, and they don't realize, Jess, and video never brings, really shows the true essence. But when we talk about manakitanga and how we make people feel welcome, one thing that you and your team always do that as people enter the door of the office, they're always made to feel welcome. The only thing that I don't get, though, that the kids do is that they get ice cream when they come in. Now, so can I just make sure that when I come in, I get some ice cream?
Sure. I'll save a pineapple lump one for you.
Fabulous, fabulous. So, Jess, where do you see the future now? I mean, we've had a rough, probably the hardest 18 months of anyone's business career. I mean, I know for myself, and you and I talk quite often just about where the world is going.
Mm-hmm.
If you could look into your crystal ball, what do you think is next?
Well, I have a hull of a boat that I would like to finish. Pre-COVID, we were building a 175-seat vessel, so put that on hold. So, look, I don't know. It's who knows? I really, once the borders start to open, I don't think tourism was broken before. I think that we just need to manage it a little bit better. I can't wait for the day that internationals, I hear all those different accents coming through my door again and wanting to get out and explore. So for me, just trying to drive, people back into our beautiful region.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the best way to end. So Jess, I want to say a big thank you. I've enjoyed working with you and knowing you, and I'm very, very grateful that you could take the time today to talk to us. I do see such great things happening, and you don't stop. You might fall over occasionally, but you do not stop. So I wish you all the best in the GM role, and hopefully that hull of a boat will finally get filled in the next 12 to 18 months, and hopefully those borders do open. Now, to those watching, if you do enjoy what we do and you've enjoyed listening to Jess, shoot us a message. She's happy to answer anything, aren't you? Absolutely anything, as long as it's work-related. Jess will answer. But if you do like what we do, please like, share, or make a comment, or reach out and give us a topic that you would like us to talk about, because really we are here to help you as small tourism businesses succeed in your businesses. Right. Until next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about websites, but I will release it on Monday. Jess, thank you. Thank you so much. I've really appreciated chatting to you today. And I've just seen that someone snuck in a little cheeky message, and it's from one of our great friends, Rachel Brown. Love your work, Jess. So thanks, Rach. And Rach, we absolutely adore your support. Thank you for showing up each week. We love seeing you when you're listening. And to everyone else that's watching tonight, or today, not tonight, could be tonight. Anyway, thank you very much, Jess. And everyone, see you next week. Bye.